Hi, I'm Rachel Zaleski, your host, and this is the Zaleski Sports Show. Today we're coming to you live from the Jack Hackman Field here in Marshfield, Wisconsin, where the Marshfield Chaparrals are playing tonight. And later in the show, we're going to show you a little demonstration on how to slide from first to second base. So make sure you stay tuned.
Absolutely.
On today's show, we're going to discuss the Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game, U.S. Men's National Soccer Team, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Marshfield Chaparrals.
All right, so let's rock and roll.
Standing here with me today is our sports expert, Jason Zaleski, and we also have a special guest, Doug Zaleski. Go ahead, Jason, tell us about our special guest.
Yeah, all right. Well, Doug Zaleski's here. He came all the way from Indiana to be on our show today. You might remember Doug, though, from Marshfield. He was a Marshfield News Herald sports writer and sports editor for 10 years. Went on to the Muncie Star Press in Muncie, Indiana. He's a 2010 Indiana Sports Writer of the Year, and now appears weekly, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Central on WXFN and WXFN.com on the Doug Zaleski Show.
Doug Zaleski Show.
Welcome to the Zaleski Show.
Well, it's good to be back in Marshfield. Always enjoy coming back and seeing some people that I worked with and was friends with for a long time, and so it's good to be back.
Yeah, all right. Well, we're glad to have you. We got a lot of things for you to talk about today. Rachel, what's first? All
right, so Monday night was Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby, and last night was the All-Star Game. So it was an exciting time to see a lot of that talent on the field all together under one roof. So go ahead, Jason, tell us your thoughts on those games.
Yeah, well, Monday night's Home Run Derby. I really enjoyed the format for the Derby tournament, bracket style. Guys were going mano a mano, working their way through the seeds. MLB seeded the hitters 1 through 8, and then they worked their way through the tournament. Saw a lot of home runs, a lot of long balls. And Aaron Judge was Monday night's winner, and he hit a lot of home runs. Favorite part of the Derby for you?
Well, just watching Aaron Judge compete, I think a lot of hype around him and the Yankees during the pre-All-Star period, and to see him respond in that situation with the spotlight on him, big-time talent and a young guy, probably going to win AL Rookie of the Year this year. So it's good to see him perform. He really performed when the lights came on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I also liked watching Aaron hit the long ball. I also I mentioned those brackets. Some of those guys came down to there were 10 seconds left on the clock, and he had 1 home run to advance. There was actually some excitement around the Home Run Derby, and hopefully Major League Baseball keeps that going.
Yeah, I like the format. It put a little pressure into it, I think, as opposed to the previous format where guys were just up there slugging and they had 10 outs or 10 non-home runs before they were done. So I like the pressure aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And then All-Star Game. You want to hear more about that? The actual All-Star Game that happened last night. I guess you'd call it a pitcher's duel. It was. It went 1-1 through regulation. We went to extra innings, and then Robinson Cano hit a home run in the top of the 10th inning. Turned out to be the decisive run. Happy with that game?
Well, the average baseball fan probably wasn't. The average guy likes to see a lot of runs scored, and there weren't many runs scored. It was a 2-1 game. And I remember a lot of All-Star games over the years where there were some big runs scored, but when you have pitching like we have in Major League Baseball now, where pitching dominates and you have the best pitchers in the game throwing to some of the best hitters, I think it's predictable that there aren't going to be a lot of runs scored anymore in the All-Star game.
Yeah, well, that turned out to be the case last night, so we'll see what happens in years to come. Okay, good. Well, that's baseball. I think that's a pretty good look at the last 2 days. Now we're in a break until Friday. We're going to talk about his Milwaukee Brewers in just a minute. First, what do you want to talk about?
First, I want to talk about the fact that Cleveland, Ohio, this weekend, they're going to be hosting a Gold Cup match featuring the U.S. Men's National Team on Saturday. And we will be there for you to cover it. So make sure that you all visit the Facebook page that we've created called the Zaleski Sports Show, and you can find out more information about that. Jason, tell us about Team USA and what to be looking for.
Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland rocks!
Yeah, that's right. So U.S. men's national team takes to the pitch tonight. They're going to head out in about an hour. They're going to take on Martinique. They played Panama on Saturday. to what I would classify as a disappointing 1-1 draw against Panama. That should have been a team they should have easily taken care of, and they disappointingly left a 1-1. They should be able to handle Martinique very handily tonight. I would expect something along the lines of 3 to 4 to nothing. Anything less than that, we could have problems, and Coach Arenas may have to go back to the drawing board and call up Michael Bradley and Clint Dempsey and get the regulars back out there. So we'll see what happens. We're looking forward to Saturday. We'll be in Cleveland. Check out our Facebook page at Zaleski Sports Show. Catch all the highlights there, and it'll be a lot of fun.
USA! Who's going to be cheering with us?
Yeah.
All right, so welcome, Doug, to our show. We're so happy to have you here today. You came all the way from Muncie, Indiana. That's a very long ways away. So why don't you tell us your take on the Brewers' recent 3-game series versus the Yankees?
Well, the Brewers played the Yankees in a 3-game series at Yankee Stadium last weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, before the All-Star break. And the Brewers won 2 of the 3 games. Really should have won all 3. Should have swept that series. They lost on Saturday when Corey Knievel came into the game with I believe, a 3-run lead and gave up a 3-run home run. Brewers lost that game 4-3. But for me, it showed that a young Brewers team was able to go into New York, into Yankee Stadium. There's a lot of pressure in that situation, the storied franchise that the Yankees are, and not only go in there and compete head-to-head against a pretty good team. Yankees have had success this year, but win 2 of the 3 games and really should have got out with a sweep. So for Brewer fans, obviously a sign that the first half was solid, and looking forward now to the second half with, I believe, a 5.5-game lead over the Cubs and the Cardinals. We'll see if the Brewers can hang on throughout the final 70 games or so, or whatever's left.
Yeah, okay, and speaking of that, speaking of hanging on, so right now you mentioned they're hanging on to a 5.5-game lead, and I'd say that's a pretty good grip on the NL Central right now, with the Cubs kind of going to and fro, not really steering forward yet, and then some of the other teams, the Cardinals are right there with the Cubs, and Cardinals are known for that late season push, so we'll see what happens this year. So in a late season push type format, I think is what the Brewers could find themselves in. Trade deadline's about 2 weeks away. What kind of players would Doug Zaleski, general manager of the Brewers, be looking to acquire to make that push and stay ahead of those other teams?
Well, here's what I think the Brewers are going to do. The Brewers have committed themselves to a total rebuild. Everybody knows that. It started a couple of years ago. And now they, somewhat surprisingly, find themselves in the middle of a pennant race here. I don't think they're going to be overly active at the trade deadline. They could definitely use some bullpen help. Guys like Torres, Oliver, they could use a little bit of an upgrade out of the bullpen there. They could probably use an upgrade in their starting pitching. Garza is throwing pretty well now over his last 3 or 4 starts, but Brewer fans know that, you know, can you count on him over the long haul? I don't know. They lost Chase Anderson, their best pitcher, for 6 weeks with an injury. Jimmy Nelson's pitching very good. I think they might look at maybe bolstering the starting rotation a little bit, maybe some bullpen help, but I don't see them as big players at the trade deadline simply because I think they're committed to this rebuild, and now they find themselves almost surprisingly in the pennant race. So I don't think they changed their course very much here. You know, one player that they could add that would kind of seem like a trade is Ryan Braun. He missed 51 games with injury in the first half of the season. Came back right before the All-Star game. Got injured on, I believe it was Saturday. Left the game with tightness in his calf. So if you get Braun healthy for the second half, it's almost like adding another bat. He hasn't been there for more than half of the games pre-All-Star break. So. So that's kind of like a trade. So I don't see them being overly active. I think they're on course to where they want to go. And if it happens this year, if they stay in it and win it, big bonus. Yeah, absolutely big bonus. And you mentioned Chase Anderson. He could also be kind of like a trade addition when he comes back, probably the first or second week in August. So maybe some of the same thing going on there as him and Braun.
So yeah, well, Brewer fans, a lot to look forward to. We're very excited. You said unexpected and surprised a couple times. I think we all are. We're happily surprised and happily in for the ride now for the rest of the year. So where do you, how do you see this all playing out? Fast forward to the end of September. Where do the Brewers sit then?
Well, I think a lot depends on the Cubs. I think the big surprise in the NL Central is the Brewers are a little bit of a surprise at 9 games over 500. The big surprise is that the Cubs are 2 games under 500. And to me, that's the major surprise in the division this year. Everybody thought, well, the Cubs coming off the World Series title last year would be a major factor again this year, certainly a title threat. All of a sudden, they're not. So do the Cubs get in the race? We'll see. That will really determine, I think, the Brewers' future. I don't think the Cardinals are a team that is overly capable of being in that pennant race right down to the end. I think they've got some flaws, but the Cubs, although their pitching isn't as good this year, they aren't hitting like they did last year, but you would expect the Cubs to catch fire at some point, and if they do, the Brewers are going to have to respond.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you have it. We've got a projection there. My projection at the start of the season was 69 wins for the Brewers, so my projection is going to be wrong. Agreed?
Yeah, they've got 50 already. So I thought if they would win 73 or 74, it'd be a reasonable year for them. I thought 500 would be a fantastic year. Well, now they're 9 games over 500.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Well, we're in for the ride, and we're looking forward to, if you haven't caught Brewer Fever, you will soon, and we're going to have Brewer Fever now for the rest of the year. We do take questions out every now and then from our audience, and we did have a couple questions for our guest sports expert today. Both questions come from Jamie in Indiana. He would like to know from you, Doug, about the Milwaukee Brewers stadium experience and where that ranks to other stadiums around Major League Baseball.
Well, I've been fortunate to have been in a lot of the new stadiums. San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Colorado, Arizona, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. And I tell people this all the time. I rate Miller Park kind of in the bottom tier of the stadium, the new stadiums that I've been in. There's just something about the look, and maybe it's because of the dome, I don't know. But there's just something about the look of Miller Park that doesn't fit my eye, doesn't suit my eye. It's certainly nice enough, but I don't think it's as nice as Arizona, Coors Field in Denver. San Diego's got a great ballpark, San Francisco. All of these are really aesthetically pleasing ballparks. And to me, the Miller Park is just not quite up to those levels.
Gotcha. Okay. And again, the next question also from Jamie from Indiana. He wants to know, who are the best baseball fans in Major League Baseball?
The best baseball.
Your opinion.
That's kind of a loaded question, because I believe if this is the Jamie that I know, he's a Cardinals fan, and I will say the Cardinals have great fans. I've been to Old and New Busch several times, and you go to a baseball game there, and those folks are like Southeastern Conference football fans. They all come to the game, they're all dressed in Cardinal t-shirts, and they live and die with the Cardinals. They're great baseball fans. Beyond that, good question. I don't know that anybody else really is kind of at that level. I've just always been impressed every time I've been in St. Louis with the Cardinal fans.
Okay, so I think what we heard is best baseball fans in Major League Baseball are the St. Louis Cardinal fans. The fans that have the most fun at the games, Milwaukee Brewer fans, and there is no doubt about that.
I would say that's true. Yeah, Brewer fans, from the tailgating before to the game experience, Brewer fans are second to none.
Sure. Okay. Good. All right. Well, good. Well, that was a lot of fun talking about the Brewers, and happy to have Doug here as our sports guest. Brett, if you can motion, or Steven, to Justin with the bat, we'll take him, to have the coach come over now, and we'll get ready for that. Rachel's going to talk about the Chaparrals as Justin makes his way over.
Yes, so this past weekend, the Chaparrals were rained out from their league game against the Tomahawk Titans. And so why don't you all anybody watching who is interested in watching the game tonight, hopefully we don't get rained out tonight.
No, weather's good. Weather's clear. Come on down.
Come on down to the Jack Hackman Field, and
All right, so we're now joined by Coach Justin Rayburn, the Marshfield Chaparrals. Coach is here, and he's joined us for Sports 101. On each show each week, we do Sports 101, a segment that teaches us about sports, and today we're going to learn about sliding. So first, Justin, tell us why it's important to slide in baseball.
The first thing is you want to get under the tag, so you want to get down as low as possible, and then the other thing is usually you're running full speed, and it's probably the best way to come to a quick stop so you don't overrun the bag.
All right, good. So we're both going to run and slide right now, and then we're going to get out of the way so this game can start. What are some things we should know as we're running down towards second base and we get ready to slide?
You're going to want to go full speed. Don't
what are you laughing about, Justin?
Don't let up. Go feet first. It's probably the safest way to do it.
Okay, very good. All right, so we'll have Justin stand right over here, and we'll line up. Rachel, you can line up behind me. Yeah, you won't need your paper anymore. Okay, right there. That's good. That's good. All right, these guys ready? Okay, we ready?
Quite a few people.
Yeah, Brett, good? Yeah, all right. That was bad. No. Next.
I don't want to do it. I don't even know how to slide. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is so stupid. I don't know what I'm doing.
Down, down.
All right, so that was it, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. Zaleski Sports Show. We have a lot of fun here. Rachel's going to tell us all about our social media tags, and then we're on to baseball.
All right, make sure that you follow us on Facebook at the Zaleski Sports Show. You can follow us on Twitter our handle is Zaleski Sports. And then if you want to go ahead and find out more about Doug Zaleski and his sports show, we'll have that on our Zaleski Sports Show page on Facebook.
Yeah, all right, go sports.
Thanks for watching.